President Dr. John Magufuli has instructed that special centers where minerals will be bought in the country should be formed. At the same time, the president is also directing the gold which is being produced in the country so as to guard against incidents of smuggling of gold outside of the country. President Dr. Magufuli gave this directive during a swearing-in ceremony of new officials whom he had recently appointed. The president also remarked that there are neighboring countries which are regarded as the leading gold sellers of the world, even though available evidence reveals that those countries do not produce enough gold to be considered as such.
I know that you have good people. As that matters concerning gold should clear our country's shame. You must form mineral sectors. BOT must look at devising a buying system. You must organize yourselves well. There can be sales outside the country, but a record must be kept so they know how much they are contributing. As for the good initiative started by the police, to carry on. All points where gold is smuggled, like how you policed in Mwanza. I know some were smuggled, but the case is on. If we stop timber and gold from being smuggled, our Tanzania too, our country is very rich.
Niwaombe watendaji kwenye mawizara, msizichukue wizara kama mali zenu.
I ask those in charge of ministries not to treat ministries like personal property. You must treat ministries as property belonging to Tanzanians, meaning that you have a responsibility to go and work hard. That is why I've discovered that there is a lot of deficiencies in our councils. We've spoken about this a lot. That is why we decided to strengthen our councils, hence the decision to take the Secretary General from Ministry of Health.
Wito wangu na nachowaomba sana wa Tanzania wajue.
What I urge Tanzanians to understand is that since Honorable President came into power, it was his wish that the mineral sector grow our country's economy, and he would like that very much for small miners to participate in growing our economy. I urge all Tanzanians to operate with transparency so all of us can benefit. Honorable President has shown the way. We must support him. Those who still think that they can smuggle minerals out of the country, let me tell them that that is a thing of the past.
Namna ya kusimamiana vizuri. Namuomba Mungu atuongoze, namuomba Mungu atutangulie.
Some drivers of lorries which have been stuck at Wenda on the outskirts of Iringa City due to their vehicles' increased weight based on the new law that took effect on January 1st of this year have asked the government to permit them to continue on with their journey so that they can avoid the problems they face in the area.
It is not that we exceeded the limit. Every time we carry the same load, we loaded on 22nd and 24th, and that was as per last year's regulations. On the way, we had some difficulties which caused the delay. So when we arrived here, we were told that we'd exceeded the limit and were not allowed. All vehicles must now abide by the new system, and if any has exceeded the limit, one has to pay a fine or reduce the load.
The government of Tanzania said that it will not turn back on overseeing implementation of the law on weight restrictions on lorries carrying cargo that was passed by the East African Parliament to protect roads that were built at high cost from citizen taxes. This was said by the Minister of Infrastructure and Transport and Communication, Engineer Isaac Kamwelwe, at the launch of the VTS system started by Sumatra.
Vehicles that have not exceeded the limit must be the only ones permitted to cross over. The weight is measured from the axle. One axle can carry up to 10 tons. If a vehicle has tires, that are wide. But if the tires are smaller, then one axle can carry 8.5 tons. The aim is to protect our roads built using the citizens' money. Road accidents have gone down. We shall see that education is given so as to protect passengers on the vehicle.
4 people have died in Nzoka village in Nzoka ward in Momba district, Songwe region, after they allegedly ate meat from a cow which is said to have died as a result of anthrax poisoning. It has also been discovered that more than 74 other people are also suffering the effects of the anthrax poisoning.
A lot of us eat meat from dead animals. There is a possibility that this is the same disease. When more people died, the ward officer decided to call in experts to come and investigate. After tests were carried out, it was confirmed that those who died are from the ailing families. All those that have been infected are receiving treatment.
Thousands of residents from various parts of Lake Victoria have flooded Luantaba village in Chato district, Gator region to mine after the chairman of Bugege suburb, Clement Busiga, found rocks with gold deposits in his farm when planting banana saplings.
I found some, but I couldn't tell what type it is. So I called my fellow worker to come and help me out. Together we were able to find out that indeed it was gold. The conflict started after some minerals were discovered in my farm. Some people claimed that this was the area, while in the past 10 years, this land was given to me and I know the boundaries. When gold was discovered here, miners flocked to this place, so we notified Peace and Security Committee as well as mineral officers, and together we had a meeting to plan a system that will accommodate the miners.
The new Airbus A220-300, a plane of the Air Tanzania Corporation ATCL, has started its journeys for the first time since being welcomed to the country from Canada. During its very first journey, the new ATCL Airbus will travel from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza twice per day. Mwanza Regional Commissioner John Mongela said that the new plane will be of enormous assistance to residents of the lake zones and all other parts of the country. The new ATCL Airbus A220-300 plane is viewed as being unique due to its speed and its ability to arrive in many places and many types of airports, and it is the first of its kind to arrive on the African continent from the Airbus company in Canada.
Na sasa imekuja Airbus, zimeanza biashara kubwa ambazo tunategemea zitakuwa zaidi.
After the arrival of the Dreamliner and the Airbus, big investments have been started, which we hope will continue to grow. Fish remains is now transported to the Far East. Currently, we're exporting about 7 tons every week. We're now transporting meat to Dubai. Let it be known that ATC doesn't go to Dubai, but ATC has entered into an agreement with Emirates, so when meat and fish remains arrive in Dar es Salaam by noon, it is transported to Dubai by Emirates. We hope when our airline starts making international journeys, these items will be transported directly. We must thank God for progress made. We never expected to see what is happening now. We have a president with a vision and can make decisions, as all of us have witnessed. When we speak about Tanzania going into middle income through industrialization, communication is a big catalyst as we move towards such an economy. We all know that Tanzania is now opening up in communication and tourism.
Ndege ndo imefika Tanzania. Nataka kuambia watazamaji ama wasikilizaji,
I would like to tell the viewers that this Airbus is the first in Africa. Tanzania is the first country to own such an Airbus. I thank President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli for making this possible.
Officers from Lake Manyara National Reserve and the Kati Valleys Water Board have begun a special operation to remove people who've invaded Simba River's water source, as it has been alleged to increase mud in Lake Manyara and might cause the lake to dry up.
The floods carry sand which end up in the lake. One of the factors causing Lake Manyara to have a lot of sand is regulated farming. We're here to look at the damage done on the Simba River, which is one of the rivers that flow into Lake Manyara. As you can see, a wall was also built in this area, which interfere with the course of the river. The local government officer decided to go and see the district environment officer, who will advise us on what to do. But we received no feedback, so we came back again after we received complaints.
Some residents of Dodoma City have witnessed an accident where a Scania lorry hit a cargo train at the railway and road intersection in Dodoma. The lorry, with plate numbers T463ADW with a trailer with registration number T483BLP, hit the train which was coming from Dar es Salaam and heading to regions in the lake zone.
It was raining, so at the crossing no one was there to guide the vehicles, and the train was approaching at a very high speed. When the rain is falling, it gets dark. And as you know, brakes can fail at any time. So we must take care of our own security and be cautious.
And that is all for national news. International news is next. And in international news, Lucha youth in the Democratic Republic of Congo have asked the Electoral Commission, CENI, to announce the winner of the elections which were held on December 30th, or else in 2 days they will do so themselves.
We know how the election was conducted in the entire country, and we know the winner. That is why the Electoral Commission should give us the name of the winner. Everybody knows who it is. We, the people of Lucha, is giving 2 days for the winner to be announced. We shall not allow to be treated like this. We want peace to prevail in our country.
The government of Burundi, through its chief secretary, has given a statement on the exchange of letters between President Nkurunziza and the mediator of the political conflict in the country, President Yoweri Museveni, that they cannot speak to those who try to overthrow the nation's government.
Understanding the history of Burundi since independence to date, in asking for a dialogue between the government of Burundi and those who try to overthrow the government, favoritism politics, in comparing Burundi and Rwanda, not segregating problems in Burundi and those in Rwanda, and not agreeing that peace and security is strengthened in the country.
Personal data and documents from hundreds of German politicians and public figures, including outgoing Chancellor Angela Merkel, have been published online in what seems to be one of the most far-reaching cyber attacks in Germany just a few days ago. With me is Thomas Sparrow, our Deutsche Welle correspondent, to talk about it further. Thomas, tell us more about this hack and what exactly happened.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year to you and your team, and also to your viewers from all of us here in Berlin. For us, the year here in Germany has started with big political news, the news that you have yourself mentioned, this data leak that has affected hundreds of politicians and other prominent figures in Germany. That includes Chancellor Angela Merkel, that includes leaders of other political parties, except the far-right Alternative for Germany. Authorities are still trying to analyze and determine why, if that is the case, the members of the Alternative for Germany were not affected by this data leak. What we know so far about the information that has been leaked, we're talking mostly about private information that those politicians had, and that they had maybe shared also online, or at least privately online. So essentially we're talking about private information, and authorities have been trying to find out who was behind this. They found a 20-year-old man in the western German state of Hesse, who, according to authorities, had given a comprehensive confession. According to authorities, he's still someone who is in education, living with his parents, who apparently doesn't have any specific computer science training, and who taught himself the necessary skills in order to leak this information from these politicians and other public figures. So obviously you can imagine that this information has increased a debate here in Germany about privacy, something that is already important in the country given its history, and there have been calls for political leaders, for the government, to do much more in order to protect Germany's digital infrastructure.
So this 20-year-old man, he's admitted to the police that he was behind this big data breach. Do we know why he did this?
He said essentially, and that again according to police, that he had done that, or he was motivated by his annoyance to certain statements by politicians. Obviously now authorities are trying to investigate a bit further. They're trying to determine, for example, whether he's in any way close to a political party, or what his exact views are, or why exactly he was motivated by what exact statements. So all of these are issues investigators are dealing with. What we know so far is that he published that information on Twitter in December in a sort of advent calendar form, so basically day by day publishing information on different politicians and personalities, and authorities only in January really noticed the magnitude of this problem and started reacting. Again, it's important to stress that most of the information that was leaked was of private nature, and when we talk about this, we're referring to photographs, we're referring to telephone numbers, we're referring to credit card details, we're referring to private conversations. So according to officials, we're not talking here necessarily about a new security situation, although once again, it's important to stress that authorities are still analyzing what exactly was revealed and how information was compromised. But again, most of the information that was revealed from what we know so far was private information by these politicians, that they had telephone numbers or credit card details and so on.
Well, when I was reading about this story, one of the things that was talked about was the passwords. They were quite easy to hack. What is the plan for this moving forward?
Well, there are two areas that are important to analyze in this case. What the government can do, what governments in plural can do around the world in order to prevent these situations from happening. One debate here in Germany is about strengthening laws, about discussing the possibility of even enforcing or even promoting new laws. That's something that German politicians are discussing right now, whether they need to tighten laws in any way or another. Then there's another aspect which is important, namely what users can do. You mentioned the word passwords, and that's something that authorities have also been trying to tell users, and by users we mean everyone, so including politicians, that they should deal their information, they should consider their information and what they publish online and how they manage it online extremely carefully. So those are maybe the two areas that are being discussed, at least here in Germany. What authorities can do and what the users can do. And I think this issue about the users is also particularly important for us, journalists, for other people as well, how we can make sure that the information that we share, and even the information that we don't share, that we can manage that extremely carefully.
Thank you very much, Thomas. We wish you again happy 2019. And I don't know about you, but the first thing I'm going to do is change my passwords.
I have already changed mine, but again, I do recommend you change yours, which is an important step in order to prevent these kinds of informations from being leaked.
Thank you very much, Thomas. And that is all for international news. Let's go for a break and we'll be back with business.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back and on to business news. Tea farmers from Igombola, Mfiliga and Idamba in Lupembe Division and Njombe region have asked President Magufuli to intervene on the conflict between the Association of Tea Farmers Cooperatives, Mvuyulu, and an investor of Igombola Tea Factory who's failed to pay tea farmers over 100 million shillings to date. All airline companies that use the Julius Nyerere International Airport have been required to strengthen security of luggage belonging to passengers using their planes so as to increase the value of traveling through the airport.
All that as an airport, we have a zero-tolerance policy against any of our staff who is caught being involved in the theft of passengers' luggage. In fact, I would like to state boldly here that if any member of our staff is just even linked to the theft of a passenger's luggage, then that person will be fired on the spot.
And that is all for business news. Let's go for a very short break and we'll be back with sports.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, a hip, the hip, hip, hop, you don't stop the rockin' to the bang, bang, boogie, say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
With Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And on to sports. Tanzanian teams participating in the Sports PESA competition, which will start this month in Dar es Salaam, have been urged to use their elite squads in the competition so that Everton will get to play a Tanzanian team at the end.
All clubs should bring their first teams. For instance, Simba, who are in the African Champions League, will have a good opportunity of showcasing their skills and gain experience, because it should be remembered that in February 3rd, after the Sport PESA competition ends, they are playing Al Ahly of Egypt. It is a tough game. So, our Sport PESA games will help Simba Sports Club as well as other clubs that are in the league here in Tanzania.
The Young Africans General Elections campaigns have reached their second day today, with the former General Secretary, Dr. Jonas Tiboroha, who is now a candidate for the chairman position, stating his policy if he wins, including making the club an institution that can run itself.
We should ask ourselves why SportPesa Everton or Hull City or Arsenal are getting more money than us. It is only due to one reason, the second one that I stated. We have not ran ourselves like an institution. We are not trusted by our shareholders because they know there is chaos after a few days. Things are not going. If you elect us, we want to build an institution that will make sure that we are trusted by our shareholders.
Tunaaminiwa na washirika kama hao. Na kwa kuaminiwa huko tunawahakikishieni uwezo wa kuleta wadau na washirika wengi zaidi tunao.
Tottenham says their new stadium will not be ready to host matches until at least March.
They were originally scheduled to move into the new White Hart Lane Stadium in September, but the project has suffered construction delays. The club took their latest decision after an update from contractors. I should like to apologize, so thank you for your continued patience, said Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy. The new ground, which will also host NFL games, has a capacity of 62,062 and is located on the site of their old White Hart Lane home. In December, several thousand season ticket holders were allowed to explore the South Stand during a fan familiarization event.
Stoke City have appointed Luton Town boss Nathan Jones as their new manager after Gary Rowett's sacking yesterday. Here are more details.
Package with Luton, who are second in League One. 45-year-old Jones has been with the Hatters since January 2016 and guided them to promotion from League Two last season. Stoke, 14th in the Championship, had approached former Fulham boss Slavisa Jokanovic, but he rejected the opportunity to be interviewed.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Vituo vyako bora kabisa vya Capital Television na Capital Radio vinakupa ofa kabambe ya punguzo la bei kwenye